Inside the tunnel, the back door of a truck suddenly exploded, and thousands of yellow ping pong balls flooded the entire tunnel. At the same time, two more trucks drove to both entrances of the tunnel. The drivers parked their trucks sideways, completely blocking the exits. A group of armed robbers jumped out of the trucks, forced everyone back into their vehicles, and collected all their phones. Another group started placing bombs on the tunnel doors. The gang leader called the police. Soon, the police arrived in large numbers and surrounded both ends of the tunnel. News media also rushed to the scene. One bomb expert recognized one of the robbers on the surveillance footage. It turned out they had a history. 6 years earlier, the officer had gone undercover during a mission, but this robber had managed to escape. The robber demanded that the officer come into the tunnel. As soon as they met, the officer was beaten up and then forced to shoot a hostage. The officer refused. In a rage, the robbers started firing at the hostages. The officer offered to take their place, but the robbers had a bigger plan. They were not just seeking revenge, they were working with powerful investors to influence government decisions. To calm the situation, the officer agreed to report the situation to his superiors. Under public pressure, the police reluctantly arranged a helicopter for the gang leader's escape. But just as the robbers stepped out of the tunnel, they were stopped by the officer, now wearing explosives strapped to his body. It turned out the government had only pretended to agree. In secret, they had prepared a counterattack. A fierce gunfight broke out. The officer kept his eyes on the gang leader. Just as he was about to catch him, the robber pointed a gun at the officer's head. The next second, a car came speeding in and slammed into the robber. The violent crash ripped off the robber's arm. Police quickly arrested the gang, but the bombs on both ends of the tunnel still remained active. The officer, bleeding from a gunshot wound, dragged himself to one of the trucks. When he found the timer, it showed only a little over 3 minutes left. The wiring was too complex to check in time. There was no choice but to gamble. An engineer explained that if only one of the bombs exploded, the tunnel would not collapse. So, the officer and a young man compared the bombs and confirmed the designs were the same. The officer shared his plan. He would cut the yellow wire first. If it did not explode, the young man would also cut the yellow wire. If it did explode, the young man should instead cut the red one. They agreed on the plan. The officer aimed for the yellow wire and cut it. The next second, an explosion rocked the entire tunnel. The officer was killed in the blast.